What's going on, everybody?
What up, what up, what up?
It is Monday, so you know what that means.
It's time for another
Monday
motivation chat. Hey, what's up, y'all? How
Hope
you
everybody
doing?
feeling good about the Monday. All right, start of a new week. So last week was the first Monday motivation chat of 2021. That chat was simply us just reflecting on what 2020 was for us, and just kind of going through the beginning stages of Kill the Day and where our goals are for the upcoming year.
Right. We shared that we want to give access to more people. We believe that everyone should have support on their wellness journey. And so because of that, we decided to, in addition to so many people have been impacted financially due to COVID. So our goal is to just help as many people as possible in their wellness journey to take control of their health and wellness. So we reduced the price of our virtual classes to $19.99 a month, allowing people access to 3 classes a week, in addition to group kind of accountability calls, allowing us to have a discussion around what wellness is for each individual person, setting goals, discussing nutrition questions, just giving access to a community of people who are all just on a journey of self-betterment, self-improvement, and just keeping each other accountable. So I think for us that was a really important decision because, again, it's about support. It's about helping people really find the best version of themselves so they can kill the day every day.
Exactly, because I mean, we could definitely speak from experience. It's like it's one thing to have to take that wellness fitness journey, but when you're not doing it alone, it makes it a lot more easier. And then not only you're not doing it alone, just doing it with others that are kind of like in your shoes.
That can relate.
Exactly. It makes the journey a lot easier. So like you said, $19.99, it's 3 classes a week. So you're looking at about 12 classes a month. So you drop in any time. Each class during the week focuses on a different part of the body. So ultimately, you do all 3, you get a full body workout, and then you also get once a week the group call. So therefore, you can ask any questions, get personal, and then you have access to this group class through the band app that we utilize. So therefore everybody within that group is in that application, and therefore can just kind of like share how their day went. At daily you'll be asked different questions. It's just a lot of different things, a lot of interaction, to really help build that community around that wellness journey.
Right. So this week we have the honor of chatting with, Charlene Crawford. Of the many hats that she wears, she is an author, and we are so excited to chat with her about her journey, her story. So without further ado, let's bring her in.
Hi! Happy New Year!
Lovely. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Y'all like my new hair?
Love it. I love it.
Shakira. She got me ready for the show because she wanted to make sure I was ready and tight.
Okay.
So, what are your goals for the year?
Introduce yourself, because authors is one of many hats and things that you do. So introduce yourself and kind of share all it is that is Charlene Crawford.
So I am Charlene Crawford, CEO of Crawford Education Plus. I am a children's author. I have 5 children's books that are out in the shelves and in the world of Barnes and Noble. I'm a teacher. I have my own company for education and tutoring. And I am a mom and a wife and best friend and sister and auntie and all those great things. So for this year, we're excited because we're going to start doing our Hour Power again. And this year's goal for Hour Power is vision casting. So we're going to become vision casters.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So under what umbrella does Our Power come under?
It'll come under Crawford Education Plus. That's the plus, because there's so many things that we can do under Crawford Education, and that's one of the things that it'll come under. Because what it is Cassandra Davis, my partner in life, my little sister. She actually is our COO, our operation officer. So she actually does all of the different things that goes with the company. So we've been doing trainings for different school districts and different people over the summer. And that business launched as a result of COVID-19, because we couldn't actually do in-person trainings and everyone needed to move to Google. So then we became a platform to help businesses and educators and general people just learn how to navigate through this new virtual world that we're in.
Nice.
Yeah.
So maybe we could backtrack a little bit on how did you even get into education? How did you decide you wanted to be a teacher?
So when I was little, I used to play school and everybody on our block had to be in my class and I was a teacher. So I've always wanted to be the teacher. And my mom, we lived in Philadelphia in Mount Airy. And so they have really steep steps. So every time you would answer a question right, you could go up 1 grade. And then when you got to the top, that was 12th grade. And then you graduated from my class and we could play another game. But we couldn't play until everybody graduated. So I've always wanted to be a teacher. I went to Temple University and got my bachelor's degree. Then I went to Arcadia and got my master's degree. Then I got my principal certification and my teaching English as a second language certification. And then I went back and got a second degree in computer and technology in a classroom.
Nice. Okay, Brent.
Yeah. So I've always loved teaching. One of the key things that came out of me getting my degree, I started in daycare. Well, actually, I started in summer camp. And at summer camp, I was a counselor. And then at the program, they asked me to start tutoring the students because they had a few challenges in mathematics. So I became their tutor at the summer camp. Then as I got older, I stuck in daycare and then went to Temple and continued working there. So I actually had the honor of doing my practicum at the job where I work. So I actually got to do both at the same time, which was a lot of fun. Then after that, went off to Ivy Leaf, which was the school that was in Mount Airy that everybody taught at or everybody went to, because it was owned by an African-American woman and husband team. And so that was the first time that I actually got to be a teacher outside of daycare. And that's when I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Awesome. So how do we go into the journey of being an author?
So that was a different path. I always love telling stories because teachers have to come up with stuff on the fly to help kids figure something out a different way. But our start to becoming an author actually kind of had a sad start. My grandmother had passed away, and at that time I had 2 children, Anna and BJ, and they really missed her. So we started making up stories about them going on adventures with her, and the connection to it was a pot of grits. So every time we would go to my grandma's house, she would make a pot of grits for us. It didn't matter what time of the day it was. We had a pot of grits with whatever we were having. And so we would sit and talk by the table, and it was just like a sense of home and connection. So because of that, I started writing stories. So my first story was Adventures with Granny in the Garden. And so she had made a pot of grits. And so the 2, BJ and Anna, went to visit her. Then they went back in time. and they got to experience what life was like with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And so because we already knew what the ramifications would be for not being obedient, they tried to go and run and tell Adam, don't do it, don't do it. Tell Eve, don't do it. But then the doorbell rang and they were back at home. So they couldn't figure out if did they actually transport there, or was it grandmom just telling the story and the food was just so good that they felt so full. And so that's how that series went.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
That's one of the published series?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we actually have 3 more. The Adventures with Granny, the Coat of Many Colors. That one is not out yet because we were still looking for an illustrator. Then we have another one, Adventures with Granny, Rain, Rain, and More Rain. That's done, but it's not out yet. I'm still looking for the perfect illustrators. When I did the first one, my co-teacher, or our teacher for the school that I'm at now, actually did all of the illustrations. And she said it was so much work, she can't do it again. So that's why I just put it on the shelf, and I know eventually God will bring someone who's the right person for it, and then we'll do it. So after that book came out, then we have another book that's called Lucky the Ladybug. And so that's based on my best friend, Sarah. So back in the day, way back in the day, Sarah actually got married and she was adopted. So she had 2 children, and then her husband told her husband, and she wanted to have another child, and the doctor said, that's not what you need to do right now for her health reasons. You should adopt. So she actually went on this whole search and then ended up going to China to adopt a little girl named Lauren. And then she became a part of their family. So Lauren is now in high school. So the story was based on their whole adventure, but it's a little ladybug named Lucky who helped them make the connection. So in that story, Naomi was 3 at the time, and she wanted to be the storyteller because she wanted to be part of the story. So Naomi is a storyteller, and she helps to tell the story of how Sarah adopted Lauren and they became a family.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Thank you. That's the one that makes everybody cry, just because it's just so emotional. And so then I have another story that's called Number Lake. Number Lake is actually a story about, oh, it's Brooklyn. Oh, Shakira. Sorry, I'm just laughing. I'm seeing the faces come up. So the story Number Lake is actually a story that I told over and over again while teaching in Philadelphia schools and also in Abington schools, helping students learn greater than, less than, and equal to. And so because of that, I came up with the story Number Lake. So Number Lake is a story that teaches the students greater than, less than, and equal to based on this fish named Hungary. So Hungary is always hungry, but he only eats the biggest number because he's so hungry. So when he would open his mouth, it actually shows the symbol of greater than, less than, or equal to.
Okay.
So that story takes them on that adventure, so then they know which way the symbol should go when they're doing the math problems, which one is the biggest. So then more stories. After that one, we have, let's see, which one should I tell you about next? The Boy Who Cried Wolf, retold by the wolf. So that's our latest story that I put out. And so it's based on the story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, but it's the wolf's version of how he got into so much trouble with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Wolf, for going into town when they told him he should not be there. So it goes through this whole adventure with him always getting in trouble because he's there and he's telling them that I wasn't there. He got grounded and everything. Then at the end, well, you have to read the story to find out. So in addition to being an author, I also publish books. So I have 3 young ladies that I have published their books, and they're also out circulating right now. So it's good. I'm excited.
How does one get into that? You know, like, I feel like there are individuals out there that may have these stories or these ideas, but probably can't even fathom the thought of, you know, actually publishing a book. Like, so what is the process even like? Was you're an author who created a book and then found illustrators, and now you publish books, but you also are publishing books for others. So like, how does this entire thing come into fruition?
So for me, I was blessed and fortunate because my first book was published by a friend who had her own publishing company. And so she actually read my story. I submitted my story to her and she loved it and then published it for me. So that was amazing. But then when she closed her company and sold it to the next person, I lost all my files and everything. And I said, I will never, ever lose my stories again. And that's what put me on the venture to find out what it really takes to be a publisher and how do I get started and what I should do. Out there, there's a lot of self-publishing places that says that they'll publish your book for you. But the key that I have to tell everyone is make sure that the ISBN that they put on your book belongs to you. Because if the ISBN is from their batch, even though they say that they sold it to you, it still comes credit unto them. So you might sell books and you never get a notification because it's not really your ISBN. So if it's your ISBN, you'll get a notification every time your book sells. So when my books sell, I get notifications all the time. I'll get the checks in the mail and it just deposits right into your account. So, and that's through Amazon, that's through Barnes & Noble, that's through Ingram Sparks. The checks come straight to me because it's my book and it's my ISBN. Where the other places, they'll tell you, well, you can have the copyrights. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. But if the ISBN is not in your name, you're not going to know that sales are being made.
For those who don't know, what is an ISBN?
So the ISBN is the little tracking number on the back of your book. It's 13 digits. And that lets everybody in the world know that this is your book and it's owned by this publishing company.
And so each book will have its own ISBN, or is it like every book that you publish has the same ISBN?
So because I'm a publishing company, all of my books have the first beginning characters are the same, but every book has their own individual ISBN, like a social security number. So each one is individual and different, so you don't reuse them because it belongs to another book.
Wait, so the individual like books as in stories, like the separate books, like so for example, your wolf story, right? So that has each, like if you had 100 copies of that, each copy has its own different
each version. So all of the copies have the same number, but if I have an ebook, that has a different number.
Okay.
If I have an audiobook, that would have a different number if it's for sale. Sometimes they'll try to package it and tell you that you don't need a number, but when you don't have a number, it's not really recognized as a real book because it can't be found in the book or logs. So you want to have an ISBN on it, because if you talk to someone and they'll say, oh, I published a book, and they'll show you the book and there's no ISBN on the back, they just printed a book. It's not really listed with all of the books. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't know, because when I had to laugh when my mom did her book and she told the people at work that she's a published author, the first thing they did was turn the book over because they wanted to see if it had an actual ISBN, because that's what makes your book so-called legitimate.
Legitimately published.
But the thing is, it depends. In the world of publishing, they don't see it as a legitimate book, even though it's printed, because it didn't have the ISBN number on it. So it's kind of like you are here, you're in the world of print, but you're not as recognized as a person that has their whole certification. So it's kind of like a person who has everything intact, all the I's are dotted, but you didn't cross a T. So yes, that's your signature, but that T could be an L, but okay, we're going to give it to you. That sort of looks like a book. But when you have the ISBN number there, no one can debate that that is not your book, and it's not published, and it's not listed. So that's the whole thing with the Boker numbers. They're listed. So you can look up anybody's number and it'll give you all the information on it, and they hold the catalog to it. The only place that you'll have to do it is if you decide to do international. That's where if you own the rights, then that carries into a whole nother realm. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was
Think about
fun.
going
It was an
international?
adventure. Say it again.
Think about going international?
Well, I am an international poet. I already received awards for my poem, African Woman of God. So I am an international poet that was awarded. And a lot of my books are selling now overseas. So it's exciting, especially
Congratulations.
because you don't know. And then you wake up and then a week later you get a little notification of these are the books that sold and here's your commission check. You're like, okay, I like this. Money in my sleep. Money
Yes, love it.
in my sleep.
Are those books that are in English, or you had to translate your books into other languages?
That I have not translated it. I actually wanted to translate it, especially my I Love Me book, because it has the sight words and it has not been translated. So the one thing about other countries is that English is one of the many languages that they might speak. So they get it and they probably translate it or just use one of the videos and have the translation voiceover on it because they're so
Mm.
colorful and full of pictures.
I Love Me. What is that's what it was?
I Love Me. It's a preschool book. And
Mhm.
so that book developed because of my daughter, Miss Naomi, and my Anna took pictures in the book. And so what happened was when Naomi was little, she didn't like her hair. She didn't like her ponytails. She wanted wavy, wiggly hair like her best friend Mia. And Mia didn't like her wavy, wiggly hair. She wanted straight little ponytails that came down to her shoulder like Naomi. So we had to sit them down and have a talk about how we have to love ourselves the way we are and feel good about the person that we are and the way we are, because that's the way God made us and we're perfect just the way we are. So in the book, it's the short phrases for new readers. I love my hair. I like my eyes. I love my eyes. And so it just goes through, and there's pictures of all different shades of girls with all different kinds of hair, with all different kinds of teeth, with all different colored eyes. And so it helps them to build self-esteem in who they are. And then in the back of the book, I have questions that a parent or a teacher or a counselor could use with the students to help them understand that they are unique, that they are different, that they are very much so made perfectly in the image that God created them to be, and that they are beautiful just the way they are. So a parent can read the book, or this child can read the book, and then the parent can have a whole conversation with them about all of their attributes and why they're special.
I love that
That's
so
awesome.
much.
That's awesome.
So you wrote the story, and Anna took the pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and the inspiration was your youngest daughter and her best friend.
Yeah, and they're featured in the story. Yeah.
That is so dope. I love it.
Mhm. Yes, it was fun. That was the first time we got to do a photo shoot and pick out clothes. Like Anna picked out the different girls' clothes because we had to bring outfits. It was so much fun. It was a fun project.
What was your
Mhm.
least fun project?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
What was your least fun project and why?
So my least fun project was modeling for Macy's store. And the reason why it was the least fun project is because I was on my feet for the whole day.
Mm.
And I didn't realize that modeling took so much hard work. So I had gone to a fashion show, and at that time, the modeling agency saw me in the audience, was like, you would really love doing this. I was like, I think I would. So I met with them, we signed contracts, became a model, did the next show. They could not find shoes that fit my feet, so I had to wear shoes that were a little bit too small, but they matched the outfit, so it looked cute. And I strut my stuff, did my thing, but I was like, yeah, this is not for me. Because I didn't realize that, like, and I'm telling the lady, these really don't fit. She was like, yeah, but you got to wear
Oh my God.
them. Do you not understand what I just said? We can't zip up the back of the shoe. So they fit the shoe so that my foot got in it, pulled the pants cuff over the back of it so you couldn't see. Yeah, modeling is not for me. Modeling is not for me. I did like when I did acting. That was fun. I got to be on How to Get Away with Murder, and we did a couple commercials. That was fun, but it was interesting to me because we spent 3 days for a 5-minute segment on the show. And I didn't like, those are things you just don't know. You just think that you just go in and tape it. Like, it was so amazing to me to see the fake sunlight. Like, we started at 6 a.m, so the sun is up and it's bright. When we got finished, it was 11:30, but the courthouse still looked the same. So they actually got to show us how the lighting is done to make it look like it's still the same time of the day, even though we were bum tired. And then came back the next day to do it all again. And it was only 5, but I aired though. I got to see myself on TV.
I didn't. What episode?
So that was fun. That was fun. But yeah, I think modeling is the thing that I would not do again.
Yeah. Which episode was it of How to Get Away with Murder? Do you remember?
It was the first one, the pilot. Yeah, so the pilot was actually shot in Philadelphia for all of those Philadelphia scenes, but the rest of it, the courthouse was in New Jersey.
Okay.
So when you're outside the courthouse, that's actually in Philly, but then when you're inside the courthouse, that's all in New Jersey.
Yeah, I've never been in part of like that process. I've known people that I have friends. They've done extra work, stunt work. It's just insane, like you said, like the long days, and then like for like a small segment, and then sometimes you'll like film this segment and you don't even make it on. Like it's just
Yes.
Like,
so BJ and I can't remember the show. Yup, you see the back of my head. You see a whole clear cut of BJ. And the only saving grace to that shoot was that he actually, because there were kids on the set, our day was cut short because you can only do so many hours with children on the set. If it wasn't for them, girl, the day would have gone on. But BJ actually got the cut in that. I did not. So it was fun. But yeah, I liked the fun thing for me about acting was having my kids with us. So we got to do like the commercial for Marvel Comics when they had Marvel Comics on Ice. So it was so much fun because all 3 of us got to go to the show for free. We got all these goodies and it was amazing. Yes, Do No Harm was the TV show that BJ actually got to be in. But it was fun acting with them. But it was really funny when we did one of the commercials for Home Depot and they told BJ that he had to be disrespectful. And he looked at the guy and he looked at me and he looked at the guy and he was like, "Mom, say something." I said, "Okay, BJ, for this one time, you can act like he's telling you to act." I said, "But don't get it twisted. It is not going beyond today." So he did his part.
Like, what was his disrespectful?
Yeah, this is a Home Depot. It was
Oh, because the whole premise of the commercial was that we were coming back to tell the salesperson at Home Depot, "Thank you for this washer because our life is so much better and it's changed." So BJ, Anna, and Naomi were coming with me, and BJ had to be like, "I don't believe we're going back to the store to say thank you to this man that sold us a washer." Really? And so, like, I literally was supposed to, like, pull him, like, "Come on, boy, we need to go in here." He's supposed to look at me and kind of, like, mouth off. He was like, "You don't know my mama. I'm trying to see tomorrow." So, but that was the most fun.
You need to put that in writing before I commit to that I'm allowed to do.
Yes. But yeah, so that's the most fun when I get to do things with my kids. I love, love, love being with them. So the secret is that having them home for COVID-19 has been really enjoyable, which I could say with all honesty that it's fun seeing them. It's funny seeing them frustrated and then pull themselves back together. It's funny me saying I'm tired. I just can't. Sorry, I don't know the answer. You're gonna have to just figure it out. And knowing when you could take those breaks, because as a mom, an entrepreneur, if you're working, you have to know your me time and to take the moment to stop and say, we can't. I need a break. You need a break. It's going to be okay. We're going to come back to this in a minute. But know your limits, that when you feel frustrated or tired, to just stop. Move away, do something different, and then come back. It'll still be there. It ain't going nowhere.
That is so true. So true. So we talked about being an author. We stepped into the realm of acting,
Modeling.
modeling, yes, modeling and acting.
Mhm.
So let's take that deep dive into your education.
Woo. So education was interesting. And the part that makes education interesting is that sometimes it's for some people and sometimes it's not. It all depends on what you want to do, where you want to go, and who you want to be. It does not make sense to go to the university, say it like the older people used to say, go to university and pay all the money to come out and hate what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where my husband and I are different, because we tell our kids, go to school, pick something you like, get a degree in it. Because that way, when you go to work, you won't be angry, upset, or mad at your job. Other people will tell their kids to go to school, get the degree, whatever pays the most, do that. And then they're miserable, they're angry, they hate their job, and now they hate you because you made me do this. I love school. I even looked into going back to do my PhD. I have to take the test on Saturday. And I'm still back and forth about it because I love being a CEO. Like, my company is like starting to grow. And I'm like, I really love being a CEO, which means if I stop to do school, I'm going to have to stop doing some of my CEO stuff that's starting to thrive.
Right.
But the lady at our church went back and got her bachelor's degree at the age of 80. So I figure, since I'm going to live to be 120, I got some more time on my hand. And I could do, a few other things and then move into education. But I think that for what society needs today, you do need a degree in something, even if it's pushing papers or a degree in crossing the street. Be certified, some kind of trade, because all you need to do is be a master in what you want to do and be the best at it. And then the sky's the limit. Because let's say, okay, I am good at computers. Well, I am like the best programmer that can solve any problem, but yet it's a tech degree that I have. It's not a bachelor's degree, but it's a tech degree. But because I am the best of the best, you pay me because the other people can't get done what you need done. If I decide I want to be a hairdresser, just fluff her out. If you are a hairdresser, be the best. Because if you are your best and you're enjoying what you're doing, people are going to come and pay what they need to pay to look good because they know that you have the skills. So whatever you want to do, get whatever education goes with it to make you the best in that area, whether it's being a chef, whether it's doing computers and technology, whether it's doing hair, whether it's doing music. And if you decide to go into another realm that you need a degree, then go for it. But do what makes you happy, because then work won't seem like work. It'll be a joy and a pleasure to go and do it. So I don't know if that answered your question about education, but those are my feelings right now with education, because life is short and you can live your whole life. We had a conversation with a member of our church, and he told Anna the same thing that I was telling her, but it was nice to hear. He's an engineer. And we asked him, well, what made you go to Drexel? What made you want to become an engineer? He said, my father. I was like, oh, so because your father was an engineer, you want to be an engineer? He said, we did it for the money. He said, I hate my job. I've been working this job for 40 years. I can't wait till I retire. I hate it. Well, I can't imagine being miserable and hating my job for 40 years just to have the income that I want and you're still not happy. I mean, to me, it's just sad because you live your whole life unhappy. And happy moments are hard to come by, especially today with the things that's going on. Life is so precious and so enjoyable that you want to live every moment to the fullest. You want to kill the day.
Yes, ma'am. In your journey to starting your company, Education Plus, share some obstacles that you had to overcome.
Crawford Education Plus is actually an LLC because before that it was Charlene Crawford Education Plus, a place where a mind can grow. The biggest obstacles that I find in starting my company, for me, it was finding the right people to trust to get my things done, like changing over to the LLC. People who were professional and timely. That's hard because once you give them your paperwork and your partial payment, you're then at their realm to get it done. And so they're fitting you in between other clients. That was hard. And I had to keep going after the person. Look, you passed the deadline. And it's hard to do business with friends or family or people that are always looking for a discount. So the way I do business is that if I'm doing business, I actually tell them, okay, right now you're talking to the CEO. So this is the conversation we'll have. And then after this meeting, we'll go back to being friends. But I try to keep my business and my personal, because that way nobody feels bad at the end of the day when I tell you this is what I charge, because this is what I'm worth. And even in that, I still may give you a discount, but it's not going to be free. Like just because we're friends doesn't mean it's free. And I try to tell my nieces and nephew, you move in, that I love you guys, but your time is valuable. And even if you say, okay, pay me $1, I want to feel like I'm paying you because you're taking your time and your time is valuable. And I want you to value you. And a lot of times we don't. We say, oh, but it only take me a minute. But the 1 minute that it takes you, it would have took me 10 hours. So even if I can give you $10 to say thank you, or a nice dinner, or a gift card, it helps me let you know that I appreciate you, I value your time, and I value your efforts, and I love you. And the hardest part is to receive it. Because if you're a giver, you're always giving. And when people want to give you a little bit, you're like, oh, no, that's okay. When you know in the back of your mind, you're like, look, just throw it on the table and run. So yes, you have to be ready to receive. And that's the hardest part for givers, because givers always want to give out and pour and pour and pour. The other thing that's hard being a business owner is saying no. Because you know that you have the tools that you could help someone do whatever they're trying to do. And because you already have 5 projects, you try to squeeze in one more just because it's your friend from blah, 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 or just because so-and-so recommended you and you want to keep your name in the circle. But you can burn yourself out, which is not good for anybody at all. And being able to say no, or maybe a little later, that's another one that I thought was like a good thing that I learned this year, because I was the yes man. Sure, I got you. That was me. And then after COVID-19, it was, no, sorry, I don't do that. Nope, can't help you. I'll refer you to someone, but no. It was people who wanted me to tutor in person. Oh, no. Sorry, can't do that. I can refer you. Then the other thing you have to learn how to do is to know your body, know your sign, give yourself time to stop and smell your own roses. We don't appreciate ourselves enough. We don't value our time enough. Like, you really need to just take a bubble bath. No interruptions. Not the cell phone, not the Twitter, none of it. Just you and yourself for 5 minutes to just, when they came out with this, take a minute to breathe, and I had to do it with my students, because for my students, before COVID-19, they would come in from recess. So we would start with our mindful moments to bring them back down, because when they came in, they were wired, and we still had a whole half a day of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we would start with the breaths and getting them to relax and to focus. But it also helped me to just relax and to focus and center myself. So that way I can move to the next project. And those small 1 minute breaks, it's amazing what it will do for your body and for your energy and for your mindset. Just because you're taking 1 minute to do nothing but relax, focus, and breathe. Relax, focus, and breathe. Now, the first minute is going to be your hardest, because your phone's going to be bzzz. Push it to the side. Relax, focus, and breathe. It's hard, but if you start to do it and make it a habit, we were laughing because we were doing something, and my watch, my 1 minute reminder to relax came on. I was like, hold on 1 second. Everybody stop. It's time for us to relax and breathe. Close your eyes. Breathe in. They were cracking up. I was like, no, 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 this is important. You need a moment to pull yourself back together. But you never realize how much we really need this until now. Until now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So out of COVID, some blessings in disguise were your business flourishing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
recognizing that you needed to say no more,
Mm-hmm.
um, stop and smell your own roses.
Mm-hmm.
Am I missing anything?
Mm,
Did we get it at 3?
I guess the one kind of goes hand in hand. It's just like learning your value.
Mm-hmm.
Your worth.
Yeah.
Knowing your worth.
Mm,
It sounds better. Value, worth. Worth sounds good. I know my worth. See, value is like, I know my value. Like, everybody said that for years. I know my
Mm-hmm.
worth. I'm worth
Mm-hmm.
more than that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
worth more than that. And when you start to know your worth, you realize what you're willing to put up with and what you're not going to put up with.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you that opportunity to be like, it's not worth it. I'm worth way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your advice for people who may be at that point and where, in knowing your worth, you realize there might be some loose ends you need to cut off, whether it's a change of a career, relationship, family friendships, or anything like that. There are times where there are certain things that, for our sake, we kind of just need to part ways with.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people are afraid to do that because it may mean starting over in something. So what is your advice for someone who may be, starting to come to the realization on their own about what their worth is, but
Mm-hmm.
not knowing what is the next step to take?
Okay. That's a big loaded question that I can't answer in the 15 minutes, but I can help you get started.
Okay.
So the first thing that I would do, I love journaling. I love vision catching. So this is January. Everybody does their vision board. Great. Now we got this board on the wall with all these pictures. What's step one? What's step one? So for me, we may do a vision board, but then we do vision casting. We actually put actions, timelines, and steps to one picture at a time. Because if you try to change the whole world in one moment, you are going to be so confused, angry, upset, and unsuccessful. Because you can't swallow an elephant in one bite. Nobody can. But if you nibble at its toe, then you get to the next toe, then the next one in the big toe. A few minutes, you done ate his whole foot. So the thing is step by step. To know your worth, I actually sat down and wrote down, what am I? What do I want to be? I want to be a great mom. Okay, what are the steps to be a great mom? What does a great mom look like to you? Those are just words. I'm a great mom. Well, what does that mean? Well, I'm loving. I help them with their homework. I attend their sport. Like, those are all activities.
Oh no, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is, wait, what did you last hear?
You were talking about being a good mom and helping with the
Okay.
homework and everything. What that
Yes.
means.
So you have to know the steps of that goal that you're trying to reach. And every goal has steps that needs a description. So I would say, if you're looking to make a change, let's start with your descriptors. What is it that you want to be? What does that mean? Describing it. Now, what are the steps to take to get there? Now, how long will it take? What steps will I take? And the thing is, people that make the goal posters and the vision posters, it's great to have up there because you're visualizing it and you're seeing it. But if you don't know what steps to take to get there, you're just looking at a beautiful picture on the wall. Like, wow, the Mona Lisa is amazing. But you don't know what ink strokes you need to put up there to make a copy. You don't know what canvas to get to paint on. You don't know, should you have oil? Should you have pastels? Should you have finger paint? Like, those are all the things that are going to help you be successful and make this big dramatic change that you want to make. But it starts with a very basic beginning. Who am I? What do I want to be? What does that look like? Now, what steps should I take? And don't try to change everything in one day. And please don't blame somebody else. Don't blame somebody else, because they may be who they are. But if you can fix you and know that you are still moving, you don't have to worry about boo. They either going to come along or boo going to leave. And it's so funny that you said, what if you have to, like, some relationships are toxic or not happy for you? I understand that that may be where you're saying, well, I can change you or I can influence you. But you can only be responsible for yourself. You can't change anyone. Like, we raised our kids, but they're their own person. They will make their own decisions. They will do their own thing. I can't tell you, oh, you need to do this. Well, they're their own individual. If they flourish, they flourish. If they don't, we'll be there to help them. But they're their own person. And you can't make decisions for another person. All you can do is do you, boo. Do you, be successful, make yourself happy, set your goals, decide who you're going to be, get your steps together, and then walk it. And walk it knowing that you're not there yet, but you're on your way. I had to laugh because something that I did, I remember we were doing a project from African American History Month. And so I was so excited. I had done the halls and everything was like so amazing. I got all these African print skirts, and then I walked in and I had to laugh because one of the secretaries was like, "You walk like a princess." I said, "Oh, I am." "You didn't know?" "I am." And it was just the confidence that I know that I love what I'm doing. And you're going to learn about my culture and my people. Let's go. But when you've said this to yourself, we used to laugh. We used to say to ourselves in the morning, we'd get up. And when I worked in another company, they would have you make confessions in the morning before you started your day. And like our church made confessions, then we made confessions. So it was, one of them was, I am a amazing, beautiful, top selling consultant. So then I started making my own confessions. Each of my children had a confession that I made over them when I was carrying them. And so I would say to them very often when they were little, who are you? And they would answer back, I am blah, 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 blah. Mighty woman of God, prayer warrior. I can do anything that I put my hands to because God is with me. So that was, one of my kids' confessions. And each of them had a different confession. And so then I wrote my own of who I wanted to be. And that became my confession. And even though I wasn't there yet, you would think I was there because I surely could walk it and talk it. But it's all in knowing what you want to be, who you want to be, what steps do I need to get there. But those descriptors in the middle, don't forget them, because your version of a good mom might be someone else's version of an average mom. You need to know what works for you and your family. And don't look at the Joneses. Don't look at the Smiths. Know what works for you and your family and make it the best for them.
Mm-hmm.
Beautifully said. Beautifully
That
said.
was-
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for
Yeah.
You're
joining us.
welcome.
Motivation. I'm motivated. I'm gonna have to go write me down some notes.
Yes, write it in that planner. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to wrap it all up, it's not a big question.
Okay.
I feel like
You
she
think
already
she
hit
did?
the one.
You think that was the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got a question. Did you
Oh, yeah.
kill the day today?
How did?
You said, did we?
Did you kill the day today?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I think.
Most
Tell us
definitely.
how. Tell us how. How'd you do it? How'd you do it? How you do it? That should be your final question to everybody. Put in the chat. How did you kill the day? Hashtag, whatever else you got to do to that.
Everybody who's watching, you gotta put in the chat, how do you kill the day today?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And if you have any questions for Miss Charlene Crawford before we head off for the evening, but how did we kill the day today?
I feel like our killing the day today involved the kids, because especially our 6-year-old Oliver, trying to find the rhythm between my work schedule, you getting things done, and then like the kids being home from school and everything. So we sat down over the weekend and decided to come up with kind of like a schedule, and I think it went really well today. Went really well. He would get overwhelmed by work and get all upset, but he was able to bang out all his work today. And it wasn't so overwhelmed. He had his play time, and just trying to find that balance, his life's all about balance. You talked about it earlier, finding time for yourselves, and that's something that we always try to do, or try to find a way to make it happen, because we're constantly overflowing. I mean, you got a million different hats that you're wearing, so it's just like, like there's no day off. Like every day is a day that you got to put in motion and everything, but it's a matter of just finding out that balance, because we can't do everything, right? We got to, like you said, find out our steps. All right, what is it that we're going to focus on today? What is it that we're going to do for this? Because it's so easy to look big picture and be like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. You got to do this. You got to do that. Like, hold on. Where's the first step? What's the first step? So I definitely would probably say, in regards to killing the day, it was all about him. Just seeing him get his work done, and like afterwards he was like happy, he was in a good mood. That was a good source.
Yeah. So getting the kids to balancing both. We have 2 smaller kids that are doing school from home. Our bigger kids, they're like self-sufficient. They kind of just do their thing, and we just kind of make sure they stay focused. But just, taking time over the weekend to create that schedule. So like planning is essential.
Planning is key, yes.
And while like today didn't go exactly as planned, but when you have a plan, you can figure out how to effectively pivot. So things don't go according to your plan. You can refer back. Here's where we can make the changes so we can still be effective and efficient. Also, one of the things that happened today that caused the plan not to go accordingly was I forgot to share this with you. Oliver had a moment of being upset because they were talking about Martin Luther King today. And he's heard about Martin Luther King, but he didn't know that he died. And so somehow, like, he knows he was a person that lived a long time, like a long time ago, but somewhere it never clicked for him that he's not alive right now. So today was like the realization that he's not alive, and he was so sad about it, like so sad, and he was crying. And so I had to console him, and then it allowed for the conversation of why do we remember him and how to keep his memory alive, and talking about what Martin Luther King stood for and why we should stand for those same things. And so it was really a nice, beautiful moment to have that conversation, and him think about it. Like, Oliver will think deeply about things, and him think about those things in our family. Thankfully, like, our kids are really, I mean, our oldest, for his 10th birthday, wanted to feed the homeless. That's what he wanted to do for his birthday. So thankfully, we do have this kind of value system where we're giving and we're kind, and we talk to our kids about treating everyone equal and fairly, those things. But today, that was just like a beautiful, unexpected thing. And I'm not happy that he was sad, but it allowed for that kind of conversation. And one of the things out of COVID that we chatted about last week during our Monday motivation was being present. And I feel like, had I not gone through in 2020 of realizing my lack of being present, I think that I would have dismissed that moment. I wouldn't have realized the importance of that moment, and I would have just been focused on trying to console him so I can move on to the next to do thing. I'm so happy that I learned that I needed to be more present, for me to come to this moment today, to receive it, to be in the moment, to take the opportunity to have the conversation with him. That's how I feel the day today. I was present in the moment, and it was nice and beautiful.
Great job. Yes.
Thank you so much. This was so amazing. Your time, your story, your journey. And everyone who's watching the replay, remember to catch us next Monday at 9 p.m. And
thanks
remember,
for having me. It was a pleasure.
Family, we said, hey.
I will.
All right,
Bye, guys. Love you. Thank you so much. Kill the day.